This is how you analyze FBA deals correctly. So there is a lot more to finding Amazon FBA deals than it's low where you're buying it from and it is selling for more on Amazon. We do have to look at all sorts of data and in quite a lot of detail as well. And the reason for this is just to try and minimize our risk of making bad buys. Now this is the whole point of Profitl and what Profitl was built for. It is to help you minimize your risk of making purchases which end up losing you money. So in today's video, I'm going to be walking you through the steps you need to take when analyzing your FBA deals to minimize your risk of making bad buys. So let's get into it, and I'm going to be showing you on an actual live potential FBA deal and be showing you the things we actually will be looking for. So the product we're looking at today is from the Entertainer, the toy shop, and it's this Paw Patrol Ultimate Rescue Vehicle. So we can buy it for £11 and it is currently selling on Amazon for £22.97. So that's obviously the first step. Obviously you need to be buying for less than it's being sold for. Ideally you want the price on Amazon to be over double the price. Obviously double the price is about spot on when you factor in your fees. So that is the first step we're looking for. We just need to check we can actually sell it so we're not gated in this product. There's no point of us going through all of the steps, analysing the product to then find we can't actually sell it and we do need to get ungated. Now being ungated isn't the end of the world. You can get ungated quite easily. We have done a few videos on how to do this. We'll link one of them just up here, the most recent one. So it doesn't always have to be a deal breaker, but obviously sometimes it can be a little bit harder to get ungated or you just don't have the time to do it. So in order to easily check you're ungated, just head over to your Amazon seller account, add the ASIN into your inventory, and it'll either tell you whether you can sell it or if you need to get ungated. So now we've got our product and we know we can sell it. Let's actually get into the analyzing it. We're going to use the Profitl Chrome extension to do this. We do also have a mobile app, but that's more for retail arbitrage. So if you was going out into shops, today we're going to be showing you online arbitrage. So this deal we found online. We've now loaded this product into the Profitl extension and we're going to actually start analyzing it. The thing I always head straight down to is checking the return on investment and the profitability. The return on the investment is our most important metric. Profit obviously is important, but that's why we use ROI because it depends how much we're buying it for. So ideally we want a minimum of 30% return on investment. And the reason for this, obviously it gives us a bit of wiggle room if prices do change. So we can see on this one we're getting 49% return on investment. That does include 20p per unit in the shipping after the fees, giving us an estimated profit per unit of £5.44. So that is a great sign. We are higher than our minimum we like to go for, so 49% is absolutely perfect. Now after checking the return on investment, we just want to quickly check the sales, and alongside this we obviously will check the competition as well. So on this one we can see the listing is selling between 15 to 29 units a month, so that isn't a lot, being honest. That shouldn't be a deal breaker for you. You have to check the competition because obviously if a product is selling less and you've only got one other seller and they've only got a few in stock, then it's not a big deal because you should be able to pick up most of the sales. But if it's only selling 15 to 29 units a month, and there's 1,000 of the products in stock, it's going to be much harder for you to get the buy box and your money is going to be held up for much longer, which you don't want. In Amazon FBA, you want to keep your money constantly moving, constantly selling. You don't want your products held up in Amazon's warehouse for too long, especially this time of year because your fees are going to be higher as well. So in order to check the competition, we're going to head down to here so we can see there's 8 other FBA sellers, which is definitely a little bit high for us. Ideally we want less than 5, but let's check to see how much stock they actually have. Okay, so we've now loaded up the data and we can actually see how much stock each of these sellers have, and the only ones we're really interested in are the FBA sellers. There's obviously one FBM. FBM is fulfilled by merchant, but we're only interested in FBA, which is fulfilled by Amazon. Amazon do favor FBA sellers, so the sellers sending their products into Amazon's warehouse. That's what we recommend to do. So it's quite an interesting one actually. We can see that between all of these 8 sellers, they only have 8 in stock, which isn't much at all. So look, got 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 0, 1. Now there's obviously a chance that some of these sellers will have more coming into stock, but we can only judge it on its stock right now. It's a really good sign. If they don't have much stock, the chances are all of these sellers are doing arbitrage. What you don't want to be coming up against is big wholesale sellers. So you might sometimes come on a listing, check their stock and see they've got 999, which means they will probably have more. They're going to be buying it for wholesale. They're going to be buying it for cheaper than you are most likely, and they've obviously got a lot more to lose. So they're going to be a lot more fierce in winning the buy box than you would want to be. But on here, it looks great. Only 8 in stock, 8 FBA sellers. We don't really mind that. Now, before we get into the next step, we did just want to let you know about an exclusive exclusive YouTube discount code which you can use to join Profitl or DealFinder or both. I'll link it just up here. It will save you either 5% on yearly plans or 20% on monthly plans. We will also put it in the description. So make sure to take that down. If you are looking to start your FBA journey, it will save you some money. So we've now checked the return on investment, we've checked the sales, we've checked our competition, but we do want to check for Amazon that haven't ever been on this listing. So we can see that right now Amazon aren't currently selling on this listing, which is great. And the reason we want to check this is because Amazon are really hard to compete against. Now, that's not saying you can't compete against Amazon, but it's just a lot harder, and you do have to check their share in the buy box. So there's a couple of ways we can do this. We just want to see if they've been on this listing in the last year. So the first thing we can do is just check the advanced historical data down here. So we can just change this to the last year, and we can see Amazon price average. So it's NA, that means they haven't been selling on this listing. You can also use price graphs as well. So we can see Amazon haven't been on this listing in the last year. They would be highlighted in orange if they were. So that's a really, really good sign. So that does lead me onto these price graphs, and the price graphs are probably going to be your best friend when it comes to analyzing products. It provides so much information which isn't clear on the surface. Obviously, you can't just look at the data right now. You need to have a look over a set time period. So realistically, about a year is best. We want to be just confirming it's definitely selling, and it has been selling. There's nothing alarming on the graphs. Price hasn't been way cheaper, or if there's been a history of suppressed buy box at a similar price. So there's a few things we look for on this graph, and the main things we look for are the green sales rank line and the pink buy box line. So the green sales rank line, we just use this just to confirm it is definitely selling. So the way some people look at this is that drops typically indicate sales. When it's dropping and there's lots of movement, that means sales. And it's the same here. You can see it going up and down, so that means it is definitely selling. Now, that isn't an exact science because there's many things which can affect movement in the sales rank line, but when we see movement like that, we know that it is definitely selling. So that is absolutely perfect. We can confirm that it is making sales. Now looking onto the buy box line, which is this pink line, and we're using this to try and minimize our risk of getting undercut. We want to know, is it a high price now? Is it a low price now? So if we look over the last year, we can see it hasn't really dropped below £20, which is obviously a good sign. So if we were selling it for £20, then let's see what we'd still be making 26% return on investment, which is absolutely fine. The main thing you want to be checking on these is if the price is really high now compared to normal. So sometimes what you might see is we can see the price up here is £22.97. Sometimes you might see it spiked right up, and over the last year it might have been £10, for example. So if that price was to come back down, then you'd obviously be selling it for a loss, only if you were selling it at that price. What can happen is it just means you get stuck with the product because the price never comes back up, and you either have to sell it for a loss, pull it out, sell it elsewhere. So you really want to try and minimize that as much as possible, and that is why these price graphs are so important. So we now checked return on investment, sales, competition, price graphs. We now need to check for any potential warnings. There's a number of potential issues on an Amazon product. We can't sell everything, or there's some things we might need to be aware of before sending it in, which can mean different things. So on Profitl, you get 4 warnings: IP risk, hazmat, oversized, and variations. So the first one is IP risk. That means intellectual property risk, and that basically means you are at risk of getting an IP violation on your Amazon account, which is really, really bad. You don't want that at all. It can really hamper your business and set you back. And what happens with this is basically the brand or the person who set up the listing has reported you for selling their product without permission. They might think it's fake or you don't have permission. There's a number of reasons why they do this. So if you do see the IP risk warning on here, please be very careful. It does mean you need to do further checks, and some people may just avoid this totally. Then we've got the hazmat warning, and this just means it's classed as potential dangerous goods. Now you can sell these, you just have to be registered for the dangerous goods program. Products which have things like lithium batteries in, chemicals, nail varnish, anything like that. So in order to sell these, as I say, you register for the dangerous goods program, but you can't use Amazon's partnered shipping, UPS. You have to sort your own shipping into Amazon, so obviously it's likely to be more expensive. So it's just another thing to bear in mind. And then we've got oversized. This isn't too much of a big deal. It just means the product is larger, so your fees are going to be higher, especially storage fees. If it's stuck in a warehouse for a long time, then obviously your fees are going to be much higher. And then finally, you've got the variations warning. This is just to let you know if However, there are other variations on this listing, so there isn't on this one. But the reason this is important because things like the reviews, that's going to be split between all the variations. The same with the sales rank as well, which a lot of people use to estimate the sales. That will be split between all the variations, so it can be a bit misleading. Now, on Profitl, we do have our variation sales feature, so you can see exactly how popular each variant is. Now, that's most of the key data we use when analyzing FBA deals. You might also want to check some of the advanced historical data like the number of sellers on the listing, the sales rank average, and also the eBay prices as well, because it is important to see how prices are comparing across different platforms. Once you run through all that data, you combine it to then make an informed decision on whether it's worth buying it or not. Everybody's criteria is different, so really don't follow what other people are doing. You have to find your own path when it does come to Amazon FBA. But once you're happy, the other thing to check is for potential discounts. So lots of people might use a Chrome extension like Honey, which will look for coupons, discounts on products. It's just to save you some extra money in the hope of earning that extra bit of profit on the product. You can never truly minimize the risk of a bad buy 100% when trying to find FBA deals. Nobody knows what's going to happen to a product, whether the price is going to crash, whether Amazon are going to come on the listing. However, if you do follow these steps, you can massively minimize your risk of bad buys, but you will get bad buys still, and just try to learn from it. So that is all for today. We hope you found that video interesting. Please do let us know in the comments any other videos you'd like us to make. As always, all of our links can be found in the description, but thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.